the insurance constituency or say you can infrastructure Charlie if man and twice in infrastructure na yeno and I deserve say the for more stick
about infrastructure there, building a very sustainable and then formidable infrastructure in all the areas of our social needs and requirements there. Yadam sonko intini mapa obeye no one na do otoaso na MPP maye no na ye ni one stadium of international standard in Ghana. E no kre tamale fedi ye kuma se fedi ya akra takrade itwa kekudie so ma NDC bae 8 years Accra Sports Stadium aye oman nani e hoteti ye basa de bia na sports fuosu se maintenance e no kohede na do aye ho AstroTurf yesi wiase kwanani mo ma bi ekwanani modernizing infrastructure in the area of sports NDC for no mu hudo mo be ene na do AstroTurf ama na Ghana ni ba kanenya do ma we AstroTurf akra ne benya bia na ohwe ni YouTube ene na do ye no district nyame pe no samba osan to aso eti aban bia nso wasede ne se eba agrodia wo mom wasede o part of the value chain is to provide extremely good effective infrastructure to boost sports and enable the young, enabling environment. Person, the Abakane says football clubs say Kotokone has a liberty no, and can face a no, or Messi Shomani May. Pananado, need the chef of any say, or be provide the enabling environment. No, I feel economic management is very Senya COVID the Abahadria. Nanado's leadership is one of the best in the world. I mean, the 21st century in managing the economy. And also because economy ninya and go for sports stadium. Nipa and Kwabedo Manyeska. When it comes to managing the sports economy, when it comes to managing the sports infrastructure, Nanado, by year you may be obeying say Febroso. But for COVID, Kiaku and Nimsinsi. But I can assure you, if say some and Nanado fear na dear Akamwa sports and don't call him as simple ever.
Kwabena eje Japan sorry I know you 7 amwa sticker and ordinary ban also parliamentary candidate for MPP for Nhyira so and also CU for Maslock and ordinary some about infrastructure there Nanado Dankwa Kufuado William Nana Ado Dankwa Kufuado ono bia any chimfa Kwabena eje Japan Kalala former press secretary to the President of the Republic of Ghana from 2001-2006 or say any stakeholders in sports. Yeah, we have to find a way of restoring our sports, especially football, back to where it used to be. Because Mekaise Isusa said Kotoko Bob Big Match, STC. Omkrano munye homfaso. Womo the bases be at 10 nisi circle. E ma big yaba stadium. Hotels ana wo Kumasi stadium nyina omo nyina nya homfaso. Womo eton aduane ne ade nyina. Ene football no aye bibio. Goals egu at a time I akobo World Cup atwaso me ensan sika ba World Cup Germany says 6 or 7 million buy 11 million we 14 million fine me myself FSO as an executive member of the GFA and also as a member of the Black Satellites Committee, Black Meteors Committee. Those days here across Scotland 1989 Datiland Timunta first under 16 tournament. Mikobi, me and them ticket. Man, G allowance te could me and them to me hotel near. And now better as committee members on G allowance they say Tisikana ba as the bois clubs, the bois juvenile football. Na a casserole in Salim Mafo. Until all these 3 World Cups you who for so ben is at the time more a local football crowd a good completely. Why? Kwabena je Japan no che say no ye management committee member for under 17 no o World Cup kwa wani allowance ono na twa ticket ko na dem panifo kwa omoji appearance fee no ma gi bonuses no ma sa so agi per diems o ti nyina na iska ke betimi dia infrastructure mo kalala esa to aso biem
on the with your rich experience we know and most fans view be say enka all things being equal na second term no kema meye the minister for regions you are work cut out for that portfolio
being contribute to Mr. Mamu Fasani
na kasa be sumo man na wonsum
the menkasa advise you with me my advice in any way time omo ye normalization committee me for phone every Kofi Amwa etumika eko na office because Kofi Amwa minu apeni no minu madam for minu kwanso amefa so ma obeye local organizing committee na me press secretary to the president at the time on the be local organizing committee of 2008 me for phone every Kofi Amwa etumika eko na office because Kofi Amwa minu apeni no minu madam for minu kwanso amefa so ma obeye local organizing committee na me press secretary to the president at the time on the local organizing committee of 2008 me kokutu no fise Kofi
Se FIFA my opportunity there. Sa ade na mo toto abane ade yi nipa no munyai. Let's go back to the original model. Mumienfro who have been in football over the last 20 years. E.T. Mensah, Nana Butler, Mpenfo Wenya Michemi, omunyate omtiasi. Omunyina mi sie bidam no mkasa se. De ekoso football de mo ya se no. Mo manipa mi ni bi kofa football na. Onse omo dia. Se su skabem. Mo congress no so nipa be 100. Obi pe kakra mama wato. Then they create an empire and destroy the game. At the time when we were doing best at the world level, this is when we have collapsed our local league.
Okay. Kwabena je Japan no je say mpanfo ncheni nko a na omo ye ntina my ball no nko na nim no. And lastly was saying
Cup of Nations quite say and say they confuse. Obi akọ World Cup ake go do semi final. Cup of Nations for me I ketwa kakra. I think say we have a good enough team even now to be able to win. And I said the last few times where I call finals and I say kakra. And the Cup of Nations in the name kakra bi na EBT. Because we share the stock of players here. May they have me and say no. Black Stars no local players in him. Yeah, processor. The connection to the country Ghana no. Na I problem. Because first it can Kotoko forces has 4-3, why is 4-2. I could test back from Michel. Cup of Nations.
Okay, I want some kakra and abano. Emu ayeden. Enti yeme say the basi I like from views way. And some kalala dia bay views na.
I'm starting first take issue no. And
8 minutes for the 3 issues.
No problem. And say in terms of sports infrastructure, this MPP government under His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, I had here. It is something even the core NDC members. So I know who didn't come about sports. Any day this Akufo-Addo government ababeya, Omo Kasha will say it is undeniable. Solid infrastructure from Nana Akufo-Addo concerning sports. Youth centers are holding WCC. Renovations of your various stadiums are not sebi yejana jejemu. I think a new maybe obia de bebo Nana Akufo-Addo and na ba we abaso. Nansia Uti region and so had almost stadium ayebia no even within the communities crano. We share infrastructure Akufo-Addo mo aye concerning sports bia eso ani na asante for ya asemi e kese ota okodu a na we in America. No matter how critical you want to be on this MPP government, say a bus sports infrastructure there, I think they've done very well. Obieni wa obetimi akase asamna America no eyentro. Honorable ya mwaponko ya me wa faprakope ya mtani ni share ofia me so say even with him who has a strong opinion about MPP any affiliations with NDC any sports krabe jatum say asama me ken there when it comes to sports infrastructure MPP government has done very well. Meaning so offer 8 years no offer baby I will be a me chiao. But PJ, beyond the infrastructure of the NPP concerning sports, I think say there are other aspects of your sports no so no crani nyame animie say me the MPP government no e to say ni based on my expectations time no more opposition now mo pe power say ento abamo no momra na in terms of the revolutions I wanted to see within sports, there are other aspects in so they failed woefully. I'm so disappointed. There has been a lot of scandals. You call Maputo scandal by Nancy, you call Gold Coast scandal by previous sports administrations. And then one scandals about sports, you know. And there be a good sports, you know. But the climax of sports scandal is see Ghana was the announced number 12 expose. And Yamiadum, the expose came under this MPP's government. Now when expose anybody, you know, the America Actually, me wanna say, oh, even without the announced expose, Nana Akufo-Addo with his background as a lawyer. And in conform to anyhow, they love law. Senana pese or mass sports for something to smile about her. On her scandals now, so. Over the enquiries are here in these scandals. Now, obese osia no preocupa. On amend the Sports Act no. Now on mass sports related offences. Na intimin to ketashani proyasi in free sports name. And as expose by the posture of the government, driven from public interest, Emma Minya GDB say, Sardino could be achievable. I think it was last month. Maybe Sapobi will fear about the Deputy Attorney General Godfrey Dami. And then in some or Kaye when FIFA ever launched the task force during normalization committee time. And in the recognition of the loopholes I wear anymore. Punish any sporting person involved in corruption through the criminal acts. Now all proposes say and Kobenya and Kayan share yamrenim. Now PJ, yepa yensi infrastructure near Ghana nyina. Yam bridge the infrastructure deficits na way sports in no. If we don't get public interest back to love the sports, there is no way sports may do the heights na was here true. Under no circumstances, any bit may do her. Enti Minister Kaya Jane, when it comes to infrastructure, solid MPP, solid. But when it comes to dealing with the public interest, any apathy MPP are buying by inheriting here concerning your sports. Any dealing with scandals across world football, Nimna, and can you say a baby a dealing with her, a bit in your hope. To Ghanaians, they've not been able to do that. Me, and as I suppose, me share me the Great Hall, LKNUST. Me pieba, Ubatun confirm you know me and Sabi Omabo Chenkubia. You could see, say, Omenimno, na and that's so be any hobium for Ghana football. The question I always ask myself, say, in Pempri, I think Ghana, say, if there should be a second announced expose in football, what will change? Bibi and whoever in Yasasa. And we failed on that grounds concerning how and Kebetimi solving the issue of public apathy and the non-attraction of the public interest to sports. Now the second thing, Debia made the Baba because Omu poster in opposition about funding of your sports, was Adebia. Na many so now so mobile they couldn't do anything about it. Debia me can say Honorable Esiama, Honorable Kojo Bajumai, Madam Frida Prempe, all the MPP persons on sports those days in Parliament mock the 2016 Sports Act, say it was shallow, a more hard, and that it doesn't tackle the core issues of Ghana sports, which is funding. As early as May 2017, in the regime of Nana Akufo-Addo, led by Honorable Isaac Esiama, launched the Framework Committee for the Sports Fund. Ebesine Yenteshi. Odi anumpoto nchaya mekai the first budget reading of Honorable Ken Oforiatta in Parliament. Edru baby a okasa about sports or see the MPP's policy in funding sports the public-private partnership. Inti aban discover and omudi normal be gugu akwema be encourage the private sector and some so discover be share sports in them. And then me sure say if we put that policy to proper scrutiny, say MPP are buying by how many private industries no matter me encourage some for music commercial sports one. Aban we will struggle to give us evidence of what they've been able to do. Because even the bigger picture of the sports fund nimpo yentimin sete up on year. So the be anke be losing the commandancy of say institution be this culture sports no file for even tax rebates. I idea be a that, but the framework be say committee so. And then what is the contribution of other stakeholders within your sports, we say NSA, your national teams, individual betting companies, any we are associated with sports, businesses around the sports, contribution to football, any sports in general. None, because we've not created any avenue for them to contribute in terms of funding to your sports. We failed again. Now, PJ, the last thing I want to touch on, honorable Japan,
within 2 minutes.
Yes, any issue of say you're money conscious or your national team. Look, say that topic we dey be at the baby it pierces the heart of Ghanaians, because anytime you raise issues about national teams, anyone sika taxpayers' money. Now the first point of call again with this MPP government, and they say, Osha your 2016 Sports Act now. Your framework in the buy no. Now Article 18 as a Yente Public Interest Committee. Ye really na the act na kasa ba abonte no. Ni ye Public Interest Committee efrimu. Now already the draft proposal in the act now no must enka the Public Interest Committee and ebe liaise with government na oma the way aban ba for so or the taxpayers money ebe run national teams mu. Uko efe the Constituent Churches Administration had all the committees formed except the Public Interest Committee. Aban the announcement so on teaming for me. And you could see clearly there's a gap between public interest and how government fund the national teams. No, they are not to China. They are no value for money audits. Look, in the past, now can want some. We've heard stories so answer the major competition biano. You promise a place necessary okoje trophy na oba ye besi fiama okoje trophy na oba ye be wiama. So even in the past and then my phone person mo friend be Jimbre no na sika abani anywhere your national teams mu no was tailored around performance. Enti unwini hwe a abani ma hwe. Even with that, Ubenobi said, Reverend say Kofimu coming on radio every day to cry. Say even when they went and gave their performance, Sikako was saying, "Momo, what do we see currently? Ye kwa ni ashishe bonuses. Say all the bonuses not to top performance. Blessed has bet me a tournament near a few group stages, but every player will be taking home around $450,000. That is not enough when you talk about value for money audits. Citizens there. So much your taxa. That's also about them sikan the ABBA. Do mu pa say sikana odi ko ready at the konim no. E also munyan so film value for money. Obia ni wo Ghana ha. Obi raise issue when the Black Stars are tournament. Akwa ko gi trophy aba. Yesi transact Kofi ama obia. Obia no ko raise issue. But the issue is that with tournament after tournament, Sika akom in terms of budget AFCON, budget World Cup. But what do we have to show for any BBA? But Sika they are spending. Into the money conscious, it is only in the light of value for money. And I wait to Miaka BBA Tiasa o Saudi Arabia yet. Nemo Mensaka Sikana Kia and Yatelano according to performance. And the Yakon Yaji Bibini Adeba. Then we could have said, this is money well spent. Even moving away from winning bonuses to qualification bonus still is not enough, because Ghana there pay a bobre any pedigree no see a call up corner you qualify from your group into the knockout stage. You've not achieved anything. In fact, and it's what winning the target of the citizenry concerning your blasters and your target. It's not to qualify from the group stage into the knockout stage. And when you put money there, say according to the citizens of Ghana, you are not giving value for money, because we will want to see trophy and see a good trophy. Near most are buying the scale room. Obia Becana Noatum, but see a good trophy. Near Mommy Yabako, near bed approve budget of $20 million, $30 million, $25 million, $80 million. Now you're near Kosukam nearby, nearby assessment to say per accountability you call and you cost spending $40 million and then I'm going to buy you see Tunisia year film in the quarterfinals of 2019. That is not enough.
Okay.
And here a government that is willing to end that. I am on Kofa so Sikane Onchendi. Both MPP and NDC obiaba Sikano mucha eso obiaso. That is why no government is able so or the neighborhood market me I will ensure value for money audits obian wo wetimi ayesa including this MPP government. And Adebia you must have a very good
benyamre na yetimi adwam yi heavy remo na mema nuhu fine rem or agency issue no.
Yeah, PJ on say the na kwablen Japan e kan no Omani is so simplistic, mami, because we share the way you see you handle your national teams, any your preparations towards tournament. It clearly shows say enya dia ye near break say you beat me a tournament, you beat me a tournament. No, the last IJ Cup was 1982. 82 no, ye had you crossing Kianko. Because that time na former President Rawlings has been the second time I be to Liman Abegu. Liman nko because of Gaddafi in Libya and issues na attack to Libya at that time. And Rawlings by NYS omonko. Na so cut to the list of players you do kobo 82 tournament wo Libya. Agana timi na. Ba ko kra say kra ni wa. Metimi akase no bobo wo amanone. Duduana na so almost omunyina akra no se mi ha mani anu munyina o Ghana do the last samu Kofi Bedu Asase Haruna Yusuf Adofama and no house of folk at that time me can say so price bisa na be the play as a 16-year-old as a 17-year-old benya the debut for the Black Stars ewo South tournament no uko Kwame Samson Lamte Setam Pedu Donesian Emmanuel Kwashi Azikpa do bana omunyina duduana no munyina ewo Ghana. To the sense say, some men say, yeka hearts, ni yeka kotokwa. No more to be competing with teams, be a teams in an answer, as they say. Half your man no more, cameraman no more, or more Guinea at that time. Half your club of Guinea. Papa Kamara and the brothers are no more, or more half at that time. Kalun Stars, Giraffe, Yeka Zamalek, Elali. GSK. Now Kotokone has to be competing with these players and these teams because of the quality of material no more and the fact the players they do na that's almost all of them no more Ghana week in week out day in day out to be a year training it be building a very formidable team. Now the last time I discussed Black Stars issue now make us say so who said you're very serious you person you building a national team. And question bebree for 2019 Yakobo Cup of Nations for Egypt. After 2019 Egypt tournament no yede South Africa na think say Kibedu abo yes sir and yasakobo friendlies for Turkey yene Mali ebo Turkey yene Qatar so ebo Turkey she 2019 team eko Egypt never bra ye next match ebo yene South Africa never yene Kibedu na ko 2 matches ebo Turkey. Nesha said the team no yesi assessa team ni adani dani team ni sa as any time be kwa ko tournament bia na say ko any particular bia no say ya samu fresh crop of players no ba Bomba Blasters no but the bia make us a national team asem no and I say ni burden no a process any event. And see, so when to me and your selection is right, and that's the answer of the mama. Ura Kwablen Japan no kase name be the BTN. The BTN basically what Black Stars said. See any opportunity say you both friendly games, and I say after tournament you baby beer. As if say the again your players no do na ma anytime biano your person beer be try be no be. Into my yen use more tournament krano and I say qualifiers krano near fair from nyina aba. Every time say qualifiers ye be qualifiers na ya drop mu nyina na akofa nkofo for na do wan be qualifiers no e bi qualifiers ni wi a e ko do tournament na o mo qualifiers o mehu o mo awie no e ko do tournament sense o mo bebo no na ya drop mu na akofa for akobɔ tournament no enti we have never been consistent in our team building ye nye consistent da Ghana since 82 and dynamics na sesa emra na wunya local content me can say players ni nyina e wo Ghana no ubet me and Yom de Biana training net. Last time you win a Cup of Nations or Ghana, I think in 72, right? A champion time, 78 and 78. Players still continue to Brazil. So many months or Brazil. And I'm going to prepare. And so I'm going to 78 tournament or Ghana. Because at that time, players knew now. Enti nanya de nso benya players say omumra omo betu asamo players no na some do munesa agwo omunya players ni nyina de omo kotena Brazil several months koye preparations for Brazil say the ono was practice Brazil and say omo ba 78 tournament no omo mutimi winning but say dynamics na sa mutimi nya players no say the obenyo because national team say e can about 99% of the players that constitute a national team no Blasters are American foreign based. And two new nyina so nyina beba na obabedi be 1 month and I said 2 weeks and so even 1 week cry. The only time we new money be say international break be and I said say omo league no off season and say between us some players no. And new opportunity say you go friendly games sir. You get opportunity say you bet me some players now. Argentina, yeah, some more me. Cause the building it takes time. Team say to me, yeah, do Europe. National team say boy mu winning, club side say boy mu winning now. And yeah, dear, omudi dakuna ye. Club oba Liverpool. It taking how many years I said with me AJ League no. And obo season when we say Sinto ha okofa ba kwa beshim obo season when we say Sinto ha okofa ba kwa beshim okofa Diogo Jota bae pedi enra Champions League oye cause to identify say Bobby Firmino ni wa initially kwa ni feel say Sani Kran no be replace no but no match or boy any say e bia Bobby Firmino no be replace no Liverpool team enti eye baako na miensa bi na osesa wo team no na the spine of the team no still are intact. John Boy match be Biana. He must be around because defense near your person body. That's what we to Mwasi. Midfielders near ya assembler. Some midfielders one bono to Mwasi. Strikers no more boy. Strikers to be bono to me. Combined with the midfielders one to Mwasi. And I say match Biana the players for the Baba. You can never build a team. So yes, sir. Okay. And that to me has been our been. See, I never consistent with our selection. Now the least opportunity benyano players are you feel say be use so many use our players no. Therefore, baako na mienu bia meka de bia no. Group A kobo tournament. Group B abebo qualified. Group C akoyese Group C say sir. You consistent, and because of that, me enya any win some side.
All right, no birthday boy shwe mami nanka ure mu
mami me ye kitwe bi on
number say ka wo hwe ni mai say Sekobasi an intermediary about 10 regular players one team the faso bay and I say how be neighbor now they are compare some standard somewhere o dey 1 meter
yeah me get snappy be 2 minutes bi o say honorable commander Japan e kan say o say nya local based players in our national team or the past years no an example but it has changed. Me I was one of the key people who are always advocate say yamna local players in French national team but if you look at the trend now and so over Africa the strongest leagues we know in Africa obabo Egypt din no abo Morocco no abo Algeria no abo Tunisia. Now you take the Algeria national team and they assemble 23-man squad for a tournament and no single local player in the Algeria team. Obefa Morocco, the same thing. Hakim Ziyech mo, Nosel Mazraoui mo, omo foreign-based players. Over Egypt, for the very first time in the history of Egypt national team, assemble 15 foreign-based players at the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations. Cameroon at the Cup of Nations, the 2002, no single local player was part of the team. Zambia at the 2012 Cup of Nations, and people always say now local players are dominating, but now foreign-based players are dominating. Just that they were playing in Africa. Because no more TP Mazembe mo, Melody Sundowns, some more Super Sport, and they were playing in CAF Champions League, CAF Confederation Cup, until they had that international exposure. No? Nigeria, about 2013, and also about for issue say Stephen Casey local players or the SS team were 6. The other players were foreign based players. It practice assistant. It is changing, and every single country or Africa is also practicing that. Because we do have for transfer, we say I didn't know say rely on ESF. Any MCO Jamo, near from Befesi, Ghana more Mukra Makelesen or Mukra Stimapia. Because about it, no more. And I didn't know France, Yanko Riyad Mahrez, Yanko Yasin Brahim Mumra. And mobile, they are dominating Africa, they have won African Cup of Nations. And then Morocco, yeah, the same thing.
And Tunisia, to raise a local team required Ghana offer local squad. Exposure the next day they are foreign based.
Yes.
So how do you get a local company?
So then the issue is the issue is time na honorable Japan can once the times
it has changed.
It has changed. But those days, not most of the players were based
local.
So even if the times now were times everyone could be proud of a consistent competitive Ghanaian league.
Yes.
Utienen samna kosio. They say yama ye near national teams who ni nyoma biama ya abandon your local football. But the question is, speaking from the government angle, no Ukrainian say we will need government to help us fix your local league in standards.
Of course.
What has government been able to do? In all seriousness, yeah, there are schools here, players here, and school parks here, fair enough. But when they are in the last 3 seasons, and as expose normalization committee and COVID-19 and in terms of getting a Ghanaian league standards, say what has the government of Ghana been able to do to bring the standards up?
Me sum up no. Said I like Ghana Premier League is here away. Player be Jigo King this season. The next season is off. We say about for Victoria de Bayama last season. No Muntinia, you need Ghana Premier League. They are gone. How then do you get the best? Or say Sakema players beside you more. By the time you are now so perform more, and you have to invite them. And then South Africa, may instance be South Africa that's not a coffee, and it has been a worry to them. But no problem in Nana so compare those years I don't wear flamboyant to African football no, and these days are and yet the same because those years are not South Africa dominating the African game no. Benny McCarthy was playing for FC Porto, Lucas Radebe, Leeds United, Sean Bartlett or Charlton Athletic, Steven Pina from that time Ajax Amsterdam. What I say McFish mo even Mbulelo Odoma Bizela that time Tottenham Hotspur. But then the over South Africa team as if you were Tabarala, Orlando Pirates, Kaizer Chiefs, money and Omobo. And you hardly hear of a top South African star in Europe. And the South African national team will always go down. Ama countries be to Zambia and they will enough more passing that come Red Bulls husband. And when they meet you, they will always beat you. What national team no dynamics not changing, and I think that there is the reason why these days you see foreign based players dominating our national team.
Is you know with 10 seconds. There are two things. A buying any F, you know, must invest into local football and raise the standard. Then two, say you per se, yeah, the national team is also a can body a local identity now. Then there must be a quota within a national team collapse for local players. That one, minimum by happen. Say to aid the brand.
Quota now would be more, and then you know where the members of the blaster or the can't see you pay the Chinoko.
Then but the quota should be there. So at any point in time we call national team, maybe a 3 slots for your best local players. They must be there.
Okay. You ever heard of one agency and one intermediary. I will bet 10 regular fee players. I will one club man. And how bad modern standards not to say.
I think there are issues that comes with that. There are issues that comes with that because it will be very difficult for any club to allow one agency to have more than 6-7 players in one single team. What I said, there are pretty issues that will come up, which will go along the line and affect the club. And also the practices in Europe, the big agents ni mo Europe say Mino Raiola mo no ma share yo mo makaka
fa ewuram it say 1 minute for ewuram
Mino Raiola o hwe the players o nyina team a mo the players do pa AC Milan 4
Mino Raiola.
Yeah, Mino Raiola. Oh, 4 players.
The super agent.
Of course. 4 players per in AC Milan. 4 no crano. 2 of them are youth players. One fina omu emerge.
As a 4 no crano AC Milan, 2 youth. Omu regular.
Omu said regular.
Okay.
PS so 3. 2 of them regular and 1 na Napoli 2. AZ Akman so 3. Of Jorge Mendes or Man City and the players do also 4. Sporting Lisbon. Also, Jorge Mendes Portugal ni. Intika at least Portuguese clubs no. Also, we have more players but Sporting Lisbon and a team what the client to do 5 penal 5. Yes.
Omina playing members.
No, Munina irregular 3. Irregular 2 of them emerging stars from the youth side almost over. Boavesta so our 4 players. 2 of them are regulars, 2 you know Benfica or 5 and also regulars youth sano are blended. Jonathan Barrett Onega be agent and also Chelsea or 3 players omunina regulars and Leicester
City Chelsea got 3
and Leicester City so 3 Kia Jorapsia ni tima ni players dos women Real Salt Lake 3 players Alessandro Lucci Italian and also Juventus or 5 M2 youth players and January so 3 na Roberto Martin Ortin and so 4 players for Real Sociedad and Sevilla.
I said the adults so cry 3 4
yes
pass away there and we are 9 Omina are regular members of the team. Omina 9 it is almost to Sabia 9 10 now obetima tenevia ka say mun lose obe say bia players omunya that professional obetima influence
it's possible once more than 50% of the squad everyday must have club no are coming from one particular person.
Heavy for no the top super agents, the proper super agents no players those were club I say
4
already 10 aden Nhyira watching
Papa yeah bibi
abako there
Yankopon dum bibi abako pa na so